Hey guys. So, I was talking to one of my kids earlier today, and he was talking about how kids nowadays can be so disrespectful to their parents. And he was like, I look at my friends and I'm like, if I ever said something like that to my mom or dad, they would beat my fucking ass. He goes, and then they're like, your parents beat you? And he's like, well, no, not literally, but I mean, you know, there would be consequences, and you guys just straight up talk back to your parents like that. And I laughed, and he goes like, I remember being a kid and like it was don't talk back, or you stand in the corner or whatever, he's like, if you talk back, you got your mouth washed out with soap and stuff. And I started laughing. I go, and he goes, that's just normal stuff, mom. And I was like, well, he goes, but these kids, their parents will tell them they can't do this or can't go there, and they're like, yeah, fucking watch this. And I was like, yeah. And he goes, I would never even think of talking back to you like that or saying that kind of stuff to you because that's disrespectful. And I'm like, I know. I go, and some kids are, get away with more with their parents nowadays. And I don't know, because if my kid ever talked to me like that, I'll be damned. You may be bigger than me, you may be taller than me, but I brought you in and I'll take you out. Just how it is. So then it like came into like a further discussion, and he was like, and some of the parents, I don't understand, all of a sudden they get divorced or whatever, and then, they're like their friends and they're not their parents anymore. And I started laughing. I said, that happens too. I feel like sometimes, parents feel like one's got to be better than the next. I don't know. I can't speak for everybody or relationships, so we started having discussions about that, because not like me and their dads were married or anything like that, but we've always kept a balance on keeping in check with what's going on with the kids, and been on the same page for discipline and stuff like that. Or if you're grounded here, you're grounded at your dad's. It carries over. We all stay on the same page. Like, you're not going to pull one over on me or your dad. Not going to happen. And so the discussion came up that, sometimes in relationships, parents decide to stay together, and then they wait until the child, is old enough, and then they get divorced and stuff like that. And my son goes, well, that doesn't help either, because kids can feel everything. And I just looked at him. I go, you're very smart, just like a lot of children are very smart too. And children can feel that. Yes, they feel the energy. I said they can understand what it feels like to be in that place. And sometimes, yes, that does more damage to a person. I said, I remember when my parents got divorced when I was, 14 or so. I said, and I could feel how uncomfortable it was being in a room with them. I go, I'll never forget that. I said, so yes, you do feel that. And you don't forget that stuff. I go, so parents who feel that we'll just wait until they're old enough, then we'll get divorced. Well, the kids aren't stupid. I go, so yes, sometimes it does do more damage. And then he brought up a couple friends or whatever and was talking about their situations. And he's like, and they know, they can feel it. And I'm like, very true. And so everybody has their own reason and own way. But in the end, sometimes it does do more damage. And people don't realize how it affects, children or, yeah, you teenagers. And then that carries on into their life, and they bring it into their own relationships as they get older. But that piece is never thought about. Even though parents think they're doing what's best for their children, not necessarily in every situation is that what's necessarily best. And there's a line that needs to be walked about being a parent and being a friend. And everybody has their own method and theory of way of doing it. But sometimes things have gotten out of control. And more so lately, kids are out of control. They're not even respectful. They don't even have manners. And it takes everything in me as a mother just to turn around and be like, stop. You're not entitled to everything, because you're not. And it got lost. And listening to my sons who are in high school and get upset about their own friends who treat their own parents disrespectful is a big thing to me, because I did raise respectful boys. And you do treat adults a certain way, and you do treat women a certain way. And to hear the way some of these kids do talk to their parents I would not even think of doing it. And I don't know how people let this happen. And that usually starts at a young age too, that you started letting this slide. But everything stays in a pattern. And unless you decide to change that pattern for yourself, for your own children, I'm just at a loss some days. But to hear it come from my own children, that I know that they're going to stay in the same pattern and find it disrespectful too, and that they would never do it, makes me a proud person. But I guess my other key piece to this is maybe takeaway is remember that children feel everything and see and hear everything, even when you think they don't. They're smarter. They deserve more credit. So sometimes that needs to be taken into account. Just food for thought on a Saturday.